Motorcyclist mocks and kicks a blind woman's guide dog, unaware it was a former K9 hero. He laughed, revved his engine, and kicked her guide dog in the middle of a crosswalk. But what this cruel motorcyclist didn't know: that dog used to be a military K9 who saved lives in Afghanistan, and what happened next shocked the entire city. On a bright Thursday morning in Maple Ridge, a small peaceful town, Elena Myers, a 32-year-old blind woman, was making her way across the intersection with her guide dog Ranger, a large German Shepherd with a harness labeled service animal. Do not pet. Elena had lost her sight 5 years earlier after a rare illness, and Ranger had been her steady, silent partner ever since. As they waited for the light to change, the hum of a motorcycle echoed closer. A man in a black leather jacket and tinted helmet, later identified as Bryce Keller, a local hotshot with a history of reckless behavior, pulled up beside them. He looked down at Ranger and sneered. "What's with the mutt? You should get a stick like normal blind people." Elena, used to the occasional ignorant comment, simply ignored him. But then Bryce revved his engine loudly, startling both Elena and Ranger. And then he kicked Ranger. Hard. Ranger yelped, stepping protectively in front of Elena. Gasps came from bystanders. Elena cried out, confused and scared. But Ranger stood his ground. A woman filming the scene on her phone shouted, "Hey, he's a guide dog. What's wrong with you?" Others began to crowd around, some calling the police. But Bryce, smug and careless, simply laughed and revved again. That's when Ranger did something no one expected. He lunged slightly forward, not to attack, but to issue a deep, commanding bark. It wasn't a bark of panic. It was a bark of authority. Bryce actually stumbled back a bit. For a split second, something in that bark triggered fear. Moments later, the police arrived. Officer Daniel Cruz immediately recognized Ranger. "Wait. Is that Ranger? From 213th K9 Division?" Elena, startled, asked. "You know him?" Officer Cruz smiled and knelt down. "Ma'am, this dog isn't just a guide. He's a war hero." And just like that, Ranger's incredible past was uncovered. Before he was Elena's guide dog, Ranger served as a military K9 in Afghanistan, trained in explosives detection and tactical rescue. He had saved the lives of over a dozen soldiers, including Officer Cruz, when a hidden IED was nearly detonated on a convoy route. After being wounded in service, Ranger was honorably discharged and entered a specialized retraining program to help disabled civilians. Elena had been paired with him 2 years ago, unaware of his heroic past, only that he was gentle, smart, and always seemed to understand danger before she did. As witnesses gave their accounts and showed video evidence, Bryce was arrested on the spot for animal cruelty and reckless endangerment of a disabled person. His mocking smile vanished when he heard the charges, especially when one officer coldly said, "You kicked a decorated military veteran. Let that sink in." The story quickly went viral. Local and national news stations shared the video under headlines like, "Veteran K9 Guide Dog Defends Blind Owner from Motorcycle Bully." "Hero Dog Once Saved Soldiers Now Saves His Civilian Handler." Bryce's sponsors dropped him. His license was suspended. And he issued a public apology after backlash, though few believed it was sincere. The mayor of Maple Ridge hosted a community ceremony a week later. Ranger was awarded a Medal of Honor and a new vest embroidered with "Service Dog, Veteran, Hero." Elena gave a speech, her first in public. With her hand resting on Ranger's back, she said, "I may not be able to see the world, but I know it's brighter with Ranger in it. He didn't just guide me through sidewalks, he guided me through fear, darkness, and pain. And that day, he showed me just how far love and loyalty can go." Tears filled the audience. Even some veterans stood and saluted. From that day on, Ranger was not just seen as a helper dog. He was seen as a warrior, a protector, and a best friend. And as for Elena, she began working with local schools and organizations to teach children about the value of service animals, empathy, and standing up for what's right, no matter what. Whenever someone asked her how she stayed so brave in a world full of ignorance, she simply smiled and said, "Because I walk with a hero."